Howdy folks, Dreadshells here, and welcome back to World of Tanks. Hope all of you are doing well, and that you guys will have a great weekend here. At the time this video will be released, it'll be Friday, and you guys will be almost home free from the work week. So I know some of you guys work on the weekend too, of course, but at least some of you will have some free time to spend with family and friends. And enjoy the summer, maybe go out fishing or working on car or whatever you guys enjoy doing as a hobby. I have been digging through all my backlog of content that I have and trying to look through the games to see what is good enough to feature on the channel. And during the time that I was gone, not featuring any content on the channel for, well, I guess it was 5 weeks or so, all the content that I had been planning on working on that just got backlogged. So I was digging through all of them, and I found this game in my WZ-131 on Prokhorovka, South Spawn. Now I've done a scout guide review on the scouting Prokhorovka from the north side for the 1-2 lines, and if you guys want to see those guides, just click the more info icon in the top right hand corner of the screen, and that will take you to the links for those 2 videos that I've done for scouting the 1-2 lines from the north spawn. But I haven't covered the rest of the map yet in scouting guides. I haven't covered scouting the field from the north or south spawn, the 1-2 lines from the south spawn, or the eastern side of the map at all. This map just has a ton of different scouting possibilities depending on what happens in the battle, and just a large area to cover in just any one particular video. So this won't be a scouting review per se, it'll just be a commentary on the gameplay. I don't have a lot of time right now to work on a scout guide of that size, but hopefully you guys will get a good idea of how the scouting works from the south spawn on this map. So let's just get started. And forewarning, go ahead and ignore the Type 62 know-it-all rager in chat. He was extremely vocal throughout the battle, trying to tell everyone how much he knew, and it just kind of got old after a while. So don't pay any attention to him. Anyway, we're in a really nice matchup as far as tiering, tier 8 game, although a good chunk of them are tier 8s. About nearly 2/3 of the enemy team are tier 8s. And there's a lot of heavies, so I decided to be really aggressive in my roll scout here. The Type 62 indicated that he was going to scout the 6th line, so I decided to active roll scout the western side of the ridge line here to spot the other side of the map. It's always a good idea to not be redundant with your vision, spread your spotting out. Our Cromwell goes full YOLO. He's trying to get into the enemy E1 spotting bush right from the beginning. He doesn't realize that he doesn't have the view range, and more importantly, a lot of time people forget that if you try to make a move like that in a non-scout tank, you're very, very likely to get spotted, especially very early in the battle, because a lot of people forget that scout tanks, one of their main strengths, if not the main strength of a scout, is that they keep 100% of their camo rating while moving or stationary. So as soon as you start driving in any other tank, your camo rating drops, which makes you easier to spot. So the Cromwell did get the AMX 1357 spotted there, and he took a lot of damage, and now he's down to 1 shot. Unfortunately, we're not able to kill him while he was still spotted, so surfing the ridgeline here, trying to spot. Generally, when you're surfing this 3-line side of the F line area, kind of like F3 area, it's kind of hard to get vision on a significant portion of the 1-2 lines. But what you can do is get vision on anyone peeking up in the middle, like that T-29, and also you are able to get some vision on potentially on tanks that are sitting high up on the slope, like in C1 and in D1. A lot of times people like to not sit on the road, but sit up high on the slope on the very edge of the map so they can get elevation to snipe into the middle. But there's very few bushes in those areas, and because of that, they are not as able to hide easily in cover, and they're easier to spot. Now I notice here that all my buddies here on the 2 line, all the tanks back here are starting to take fire. So I decide to relocate. I'm not getting very good spots at all. And our T-150 dies because something on the 1-2 line is spotting them. Potentially the AMX 1357 relocated. Or maybe it's the T-29 in the middle and he has a really good crew. And he was the one that was spotting them on the 2 line, but someone on the 2 line is spotting them. So now we're just being patient. We're waiting to see if any of the enemies decide to move up into the down the 1-2 lines. So we're in a good position to spot them if they start to advance. And now we're just kind of creating a vision screen, so to say, for our teammates behind us. Unfortunately, if there are eyes on the 1-2 line, we can't dig them out until they start to get active. Because if I try to dig them out aggressively, I will probably die because they're already set up to engage. But the 1357 is over there on that side of the map, so maybe he was over here and he decided to relocate to the middle ridge. I get an itchy trigger finger and shoot at the T-29, and I was anticipating that I was going to get spotted, so I dove off right away. Misplay to fire at all there, by the way. But, interestingly enough, this is one of the tricks that you can do while you're scouting. You can infer where the enemy is not, kind of like I've talked about before, where if you scout a certain location, and the enemy isn't there, they have to be somewhere else, so obviously. So the same thing applies if you shoot and don't get spotted. Either the enemy has a really bad crew, or they're not in the spot to spot you, and that's where map knowledge comes in. And if you know the limited number of options where an enemy can spot you, and you don't get spotted while firing, you know that they're not there, and so you can take advantage of that and take area of the map. And now we're illustrating kind of where I talked about on the Prokhorovka 1-2 line scouting guide from the North spawn. Once you advance past this little ditch that I'm sitting in, kind of in E2, E3, F2, F3. You don't need to advance past that. There's this huge line of bushes here that will keep you safe from getting spotted, as long as there isn't anyone in the 3-line ditch and the 4-line ditch, and anyone up on the slope high on the 1 line. Your first priority is to actually help shoot out and kill tanks on the 6 line once you advance to this point. Don't worry about the tanks in front of you. You'll deal with them after you kill out the 6 line. Of course, being really risky here of getting shot by the T-28, but I committed into that bush, and once that Japanese Tiger started advancing, I was pretty convinced that I wasn't going to be able to leave that position without getting spotted, so I figured, well, if I'm going to get spotted anyway, I might as well try and do some damage. And now that the Type 62 is also up here on the E4 area, spotting the middle and the 1-2 line, I figure there's no reason for me to be there. Once again, redundant spotting. If your teammates are not just other scouts on your team, but other tanks, if your teammates have an area of the map covered with their vision, there's no reason for you to be there unless you're going to advance it further. So I decided to come back here and help defend cap through my vision. I'm going to get spots on the enemy tanks that are trying to cap. We spot the FCM-50T. Using some bush mechanics here, reversing behind the bush so that when we fire we don't get spotted. We know we hit him a second time there because the cap reset. And now we also spot the Centurion there. getting some really nice help from the Object 416 here, and getting some resets in here, and helping me kill the tanks that are trying to cap. Centurion tries to blind fire a bush on the move, and he doesn't even hit any of the bushes since he was on the move and is like 300 meters away. Got some back shots into the T-34-3. Somehow magically bounced the back of a T-34-3, so... There's a 4202 there that advanced up, and unfortunately I take a shot of damage there for it. But the Object 416 and I did some really good teamwork together. I gave him the vision, and he did the damage, and I sneaked in a little bit of my own damage, and were able to relieve the cap pressure so that we don't have to worry about that anymore. You'll notice that the cap siren is still going off. Ignore that. I apologize for that. That's a bug in the 9.14 replays. I couldn't figure out how to fix it. I spent some time trying to research it, and I couldn't figure out any setting or anything I could do to make that stop. So unfortunately that siren will be going off for the rest of the replay. But hopefully it won't be too much of a distraction. Now we're able to flank the T-28. Kind of surprised that he shifted more into the three-line ditch area. I anticipated that he would have still been higher up on the two-line road itself. Now the 4202 has come back to help defend, and unfortunately our IS-3 here is caught in a crossfire between the OHO and the FV. Loading heat here because 159 millimeters of penetration isn't just going to cut it against the front of an OHO, so dive off the ridge here now that I know that the OHO is loaded. Now that the Object 416 is in cover from the OHO and he's driving along on the west side of that rib, and he's looking to engage the 4202, I want to make sure that I'm working with him on that. And also shifting back here will also increase the likelihood that we'll be able to keep our GW Panther alive by retaking this territory. We respot the 4202 there. Try to sneak a shot in there above the ridge line, but below the turret. But it's a pretty thin shot, and the shot goes low and goes into the dirt. Now that the Object 416 has taken up the ground in between the 4202 and the Arty, I'm not worried about protecting Arty anymore, and the Object 416 is full health, so he should be able to outbrawl the FV easily. I want to come back here, if not to kill the OHO, to at least get some vision on him to see where he's going. It's always really good to know what your enemy is up to, even if you're not currently engaging them, so you can anticipate what their intentions are, and you know how much time you have to kill out the other enemy tanks, right? So we see that he was moving to the 1-2 line, so we see we have all the time in the world. Object 416 does a really good job in putting a couple shots into the FV and puts him down to a one shot, and we help kill him, or shall I say take a cheeky kill shot. But when I'm playing, I really don't care who kills a tank as long as they die. Of course there are legitimate kill stealers or whatever, but a dead tank is a dead tank, and that's good for everyone. So, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this game on Prokhorovka South Spawn. Once again, not a full scout guide, but just featuring a replay and commenting on it. Hopefully I will have time down the road to do a proper scout guide showing you guys the exact bushes and the exact angles of vision, the angles of sniping and direct fire, and how to progress, etc., etc. And eventually, hopefully, the rest of the field and the east side of the map as well. But the main concepts of this game is always try to be relocating to where you're most relevant, right? A lot of my movement here, I was trying to spread out the vision power of our team, which is basically the Type 62 and myself. When he was spotting on On the 5 and the 6 line, there was no reason for me to roll scout that area of the map since it was already covered, so I basically focused on the 1, 2, 3 lines most of the game. And as you can see here, the once again, how it always seems to happen on Prokhorovka, or Fiery Salient version. Once the game turns into like a 5v5, a lot of times the battle turns into a east versus west fight. Of course, the spawn is on the north, and on the south, the spawns that is. But when a lot of tanks die, a lot of times one team will win one flank and the other team will win the other side of the map, and then it turns into an east versus west fight like this. And these gaps in the rail line here become pretty relevant, and these ridge lines right here on the map become very, very important. And also technically the ridge line here on the two line, that's the actual road itself, become very important in you using hard cover and soft cover to flank your targets that are isolated and eventually wipe out the rest of the enemy team. But enough of that. Thank you guys so much for watching this replay. Hope you have a great weekend and good hunting.